Hello friend, my name is Ethan, and I'm here to help you deepen your meditation practice and integrate it into all aspects of your life. Meditation is much better to be taught in one-on-one relationships, so while these videos can be helpful, if you need help with your practice, please feel free to reach out and book a one-on-one session with me or email me if you have any questions. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. In this video, I want to talk about enjoying meditation practice, which is actually a very profound topic, and there's a lot of disagreement in various schools of Buddhism, at least, in terms of this orientation of enjoyment when it comes to meditation. The first thing that needs to be said immediately and just established is that if we are not enjoying our meditation practice, it will not be sustainable. We won't stay consistent. And the only way for the fruits of meditation to unfold and bring more happiness, not only for ourselves, but for others around us, is for us to be consistent. So if we're not enjoying the practice, consistency is impossible in the long run. So then the question is, well, how do we stay consistent? And I would argue that the way to stay consistent is by enjoying the practice. So how do we enjoy the practice? The way that we enjoy the practice is by setting up positive feedback loops. And so there's different ways that we can set up positive feedback loops. The first suggestion that I would say, and this is a very controversial one, so I highly doubt any teacher would recommend this typically, but I will explain it. Beginning your meditation sit in the morning while drinking something like coffee or tea. For a long time, I did not have the level of practice, the development of practice capable of meditating immediately upon waking up. I was just too tired. But I knew that meditating in the morning was a really good thing to do for various reasons. When I meditated in the morning, the rest of my day was just better. And the more that I put off meditating, the harder it was to then practice later on in the day once my day got going. So it was very clear that the morning was the best time to practice, but overcoming the sleepiness was a huge hindrance. And I decided to just start drinking coffee while I sit. And while I practice meditation, just mindfully sipping my coffee, integrating the drinking of coffee ceremonially into the overall ceremony of meditating in the morning. But in this way, it's an immediate reward. I was setting up an immediate positive feedback loop of association. When I meditate, pleasure from the coffee arises. And my mind started associating that together, which then made meditating easier. Now, it is true that in the long run, you do need to devoid these habits from one another and be able to enjoy meditation and sit and cultivate energy without something like coffee. But in the short term, we're just creating the scaffolding of positive feedback loops to help build the consistency of practice. Another very important part of enjoying meditation is when pleasure or happiness or peace or ease does arise, actually acknowledge that as happening and allow it to be experienced. Just feel it. Be open to experiencing pleasure. Be open to experiencing happiness. It's not a bad thing when these types of experiences arise. So actually enjoying the arising of pleasure, not craving after, not allowing the mind to clamp down and grab onto it. When we do that, the pleasure and happiness usually immediately goes away. Any sort of joy or peace or positive experience that arises as a result of meditation practice, the fastest way to eliminate it is by craving after it. And so we'll learn what that is directly by making that mistake. But instead, the orientation needs to be allowing it to arise, actually opening up to receiving the positive, wholesome experiences. The next tip is just relaxing the body. This is huge. It has taken me years personally to realize the extent to which the body is holding on to tension and the ways that that tension are interrelated to the attachments that I'm holding on to. the ways in which the tension is preventing pleasure or joy or gratitude or whatever other wholesome state of mind from flowing throughout the body, throughout the mind, the emotional body, the energy body. Physical tension in the body obstructs so much, and mostly it's because the body doesn't feel safe. However, when we invite the mind to relax, when we allow the body to relax, not just at the beginning of the sit, but throughout the entirety of a meditation period, slowly and slowly and slowly, the body does let go. And when the body lets go, the mind lets go. And when the mind lets go, more wholesome states of mind arise. It's deceptively simple how this works. And there's a lot more that I could say as well about what it means for the body to relax and how we know that we are oriented in a way that allows the body to relax. But even just relaxing the larger, more obvious parts of the body begins to immediately demonstrate the relationship between tension, relaxation, letting go, and holding on through attachment. The next point is just around maintaining wholesome states of mind throughout not just a sitting period, but through the entirety of our day. If we're getting into fights or binging on electronics or distracting ourselves through various activities, overstimulating ourselves outside of a sit, and then certainly if we're just creating tension and dis-ease during a meditation period, all of this accumulation of negativity impacts the practice and impacts our ability to enjoy it. In order to enjoy meditation, we actually have to receive enjoyable experiences. We have to make the association that meditation does lead towards wholesome states in the long run. But this means that we are maintaining wholesome states both within a sit and outside of a sit. And in this way, you carry the practice of meditation with you throughout all of your daily life. Maintaining an orientation to loving kindness towards a pet, for example, or a young child that perhaps you're caring for. Maintaining a sense of gratitude for the parts of your life that you authentically appreciate. Maintaining a sense of integrity, doing the right thing when no one is watching. All of these little moments throughout the day add up and impact our ability to enjoy meditation. Because when we're just sitting with ourselves, if our self is not a pleasant place to abide, if the mind is not a pleasant place to abide, we won't enjoy the practice, and then we'll just have to be forcing our way through meditation. Please understand the significance of maintaining this wholesome state, these wholesome states of mind throughout all parts of your life. This is so vital. The last point that I'd like to share right now, in this video at least, is just working correctly with challenges that arise during practice. So it is the case that pain will arise as a result of meditation. It is the case that the parts of our life or our mind or our identity that we don't want to let go of will reveal themselves during a sit. It is the case that hindrances of various kinds will arise during the practice of meditation. And so you might think that, okay, well, when these things arise, it's impossible to enjoy the practice. And it's a balance. Part of it is learning how to enjoy the working with challenges in the same way that an athlete enjoys working out. Obviously, pain arises when you work out, but for the athlete, there's an enjoyment in facing the challenge of the pain. And it's the same thing with meditation. We can begin to develop a taste for this purification process. And by purification process, I mean the arising of these challenges throughout a sit. When we develop the taste for that, when we develop the sensitivity to how the purification process is leading towards future happiness, the moment-by-moment experience of the pain is experienced as fulfilling, is experienced as satisfying. Even though there's not pleasure, even though it's just pain, by working with it skillfully, it becomes an enjoyable experience. How do you work with it skillfully? By applying as much as possible equanimity to the experience, by feeling as deeply as possible the challenges as they arise. As much acceptance and peace with the mind as it's distracted or hindered in various ways. As much deep sensitivity and feeling as possible with pain as it's arising, whether through emotions or through physical sensations during meditation. And knowing when to stop. Knowing and having sensitivity to our edge of capacity during a sit. It's okay to end a sit early if all we're doing is generating more suffering and we are beyond our edge of capacity. By working with these challenges skillfully and by learning how to enjoy the practice in the long term, our edge of capacity to face challenges, both on and off the cushion, increases over time. And that's really what we're trying to do when we practice meditation, is increase our capacity to purify the mind of deeper and more subtle layers of suffering and more challenging layers of suffering, of more deeper and subtle layers of ignorance and more obvious layers of ignorance. And in this way, the practice moves towards happiness and truth, honesty, integrity. But it's important not to push past our edge of capacity when it comes to working with challenges. So that's all I have in this video. I hope this was helpful in some way. If you need help with your meditation practice, like I said, please feel free to reach out via email or by booking a one-on-one session with me. Thank you for your meditation practice, and I'll see you guys in the next video.